Boys and girls, we've been using fractions all week. And with the fractions that we have been using, we are going to learn a new skill. All right? Swabat.
We can add fractions.
That's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be adding fractions. Now, we're going to have to use that prior knowledge of what we've learned how to do earlier this week and last week, where we actually identify the fraction. For example, if I have two strips, what is this? How much is this strip? Callie.
2/8.
That is 2/8. It equals 2/8. And then if I have all right, tell me how much I have there. And by the way, that's a 1 on top of that first 6. Yes, ma'am. 4/6. Okay, so you're going to have to use what we know to learn how to add fractions. You're going to have to know how to write down what the fraction is first. Now, I'm going to give you an example of what this might look like. Swabat.
We can add fractions.
That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding fractions. If I have these two strips, and I know that I need to add these two strips together, tell me what I'm going to be adding.
5, 6.
I'm sorry, you didn't. Tell me what I'm going to...
Adding the ones. 2, 6.
Thank you. 2, 6 plus... Jaslyn?
3, 6.
3, 6. Now, who remembers... We looked at this one time only. I gave you just a brief little examination of what this would look like. Who remembers? What does not change?
The denominator.
The denominator. Thank you for calling it correctly. Dog tag for you, Miss Alexia. The denominator stays the same. So all the way across the bottom, I'm going to have 6, 6, 6. Now what do I do? Make a prediction. What do I do? Bailey.
Add 2 plus 3.
I'm going to add 2 plus 3. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So I'm saying that the answer is 5, 6. Let's add these pieces and see if I'm correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6. Okay? So what do we need to know when we are doing this lesson? Tell me 2 things that you need to know. To Swabat.
We can add fractions.
So what are the 2 things we need to know to add fractions? 2 things we need to know. Anaviana.
Your addition.
You need to know to add. More detail. More detail.
You need to know how to add denominator.
The numerator. You need to know to add the numerators. And one more thing you need to know if you are adding fractions. Bailey.
Leave the denominator.
Oh.
Yeah, me.
Always leave the denominator the same.
I was going to say the
things we need to remember when we are doing this lesson, when we are doing this skill. I would like all of you to look at your textbooks. Let's zoom in on your textbook for him. All right, Hunter, we're going to zoom in on the textbook for what lesson we're working on. Working on using models to add fractions on page 294. All right, Sarah, why don't you sit down so you can actually participate? Let's look at number 1. Remember our 2 rules. Rule number 1, add the numerators. Rule number 2, always leave the denominator the same. Those are our 2 rules. Now, let's look at number 1. 2/5 plus 1/5. Using my 2 rules, what do I do first?
Look at the denominator.
Okay, using my 2 rules, what are we going to do first?
Add the numerator.
We're going to add the numerators. So what is my new numerator going to be? What is this going to equal?
3.
3 as our numerator.
The denominator will be 6.
The denominator will not be 6.
Sorry.
5. Why is the denominator 5? What is our second rule?
Because you leave the denominator the same.
You leave the denominator the same. So our new fraction when we add 2/5 and 1/5 is what, Bryson? What is our new fraction when we add 2/5 and 1/5? 3/5 is the answer. Look at 2. What do we do first? Our rule says to add the numerators first. Kara, what do we do for 2? We add 2 plus 4 and get 6 as our numerator. And what do we do for our denominator?
Keep it the same.
Which will be
12.
12. What is our new fraction when we add 2/12 and 4/12? Yes, ma'am. 6/12. Can anyone tell me about 6/12? 6/12.
Well, 6 has a 12 in it for a multiplication.
So, is 6/12 simplest form?
Yes.
No. It's equivalent to what? 6/12 is equivalent to, thank you for using that big word. 6/12 is equivalent to
2/3. 6/12 is equivalent to.
Where do you see a 6 over a 12 on your multiplication chart? 1 over what?
12.
1/2. Very good job, Brandon. 1/2. Very good job. I would like you to work on 5, 6, 7, and 8. Get out your math journal and work on 5, 6, 7, and 8. Remember to follow the 2 rules that we discussed. Add the numerators. Always leave the denominator the same.
Which number?